This episode of the Eclecticide podcast is brought to you by our very own patreon.com/eclecticide. Patreon.com/eclecticide. Again, these episodes take a little bit of time and a little bit of money to get the hosting and everything done right and to just build up our fan base and everything. And through that, you find out little snippets about new interviews that we have coming up. And trust me, we have some really, really good ones coming up in 2020. So with that being said, Episode 7, the Eclecticide Podcast. Shit, yeah, dude, man. Party time. What's up with you guys? 2020. I went a little lazy in December. You know, I had some interviews that were lined up. They were supposed to happen. People backed out. I got busy. I had to officiate a wedding. I had a bunch of other stuff I had to do. And then work, of course. You know, you got to pay the bills and got to pay all the money to those Christmas gifts. Once all that was said and done, I had some time off work to just enjoy myself and the stuff that I bought. This is the first time that I'm able to enjoy some Christmas gifts. I got a new set of headphones, so I can actually hear myself and hear what I'm doing editing wise. So that is really fantastic. Shout out to Papa Jim. But yeah, so outside of that, the kids love their presents. Christmas is always great. So what I did with my time, me and my wife, we decided to start watching Star Wars. So what we did was, I mean, how many times can you watch the same movies in the same order 1,000 times before you just beating a dead horse? So I don't know if anyone is familiar with what they call the machete order, but that was an older order that was just basically the original 6, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And with that, you watch 4, 5, skip 1, watch 2, 3, finish 6. It worked out really well. The last time I watched it, I enjoyed that, but it was probably over 10 years ago. And so we sat down and we did the new Star Wars machete order, which is follows. I'm going to explain why this works. So you start off, you watch Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. So at the end of Strikes Back, spoiler alert if you haven't seen a movie that fucking came out in 1970 something, okay? But at the end of Empire Strikes Back, that's when you have the whole Luke, I am your father, and all that. So it's a logical stepping point when you're introduced to Obi-Wan, you're introduced to Luke, Leia, and Darth Vader, and then finding out that Darth Vader is Luke's father. You jump to number 1, The Phantom Menace, and that gives you the backstory of Anakin. Then you watch Episode 2, followed by Episode 3. In those, you get to see the creation and birth of Luke and Leia. You get to see the creation of Darth Vader, and you're introduced to Yoda. You're introduced to all these other characters and Chewbacca. So then from there, you watch Solo, a Star Wars story, which I have not seen yet, so I can't speak on that one. Rogue One, which I have seen. Then you watch Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. The Mandalorian, the TV series, then you watch 7, 8, and 9. So to run through the system again, it's A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Solo, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker. So I used to be really, really, really into Star Wars a lot, and then I moved to Transformers and Batman, and now I'm pretty locked into Batman. But watching these Star Wars episodes, the thing that was driving me crazy is all these little, for lack of a better word, just discrepancies from the original trilogy and the newer movies. I have not seen 7, 8, and 9 because I heard that I was going to be strongly disappointed, so I've just basically ignored them. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I found or that bugged the hell out of me in the 4, 5, and 6, the original trilogy, and then the ones that followed 1, 2, and 3. And if I'm wrong, hit me up, let me know, but I don't know. I mean, I know what I'm talking about to a certain extent, but we'll start on a big one. We're going to talk about fucking lightsabers, okay, and lightsaber battles. So I understand things weren't the same in the 70s as far as special effects and shit goes, but the first lightsaber battle you see is between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and it's like the most awkward thing of two dudes standing across from each other just like tapping lightsabers, and it's so dumb. And so I don't and like but then in 5 they get a little bit better, and then in 6 they get a little bit better. But if you go back to episode 1, I say go back, it's actually 4, but you go back to episode 1 and you see Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon right off the bat just doing flips and jumping 30, 40 feet in the air and doing this and this and this and this. I'm like, why would technologically and why would power-wise and skill-wise would things retract? So my buddy, he tells me, he's like, oh no, it's because Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are old. But I'm like, but Darth Vader kind of holds his own with Luke in episode 5. But you can't tell me that you think Duel of Fate is at the same par as Obi-Wan's death scene. It's asinine. They couldn't have dumbed it down. George Lucas has changed 900 other things with the series. He couldn't have changed that. That probably would have been fine. At the end of episode 3, when Yoda and Obi-Wan are sitting down, they're talking about what to do with the twins. And they're like, you know what? Okay, he's going to take Leia. That's cool. And Obi-Wan's like, I will watch after the boy and move to Tatooine. And Yoda's like, sit. Because a person that we know, your old master, has perfected the immortality through the Force. And I want you to study and learn to speak to him. Nothing more comes of that, except for Obi-Wan talking to Luke, but that's not how this communication works, because the way that Yoda makes it sound, Obi-Wan would have to learn, living, how to speak to Qui-Gon Jinn, being dead. But Luke can just talk to him? I'm not understanding. It's never touched on again. And in 4, 5, and 6, they make it seem as though if you're just a Jedi, you can just talk to old dead Jedis. Without a problem. No problem whatsoever. Just talk to whoever you want to. I will coach you as a dead ghost throughout everything. Then, there's that. And that's little. But here's a big one. Okay, so C-3PO and R2-D2 seem to have no recollection of what the fuck's going on. Now, they address this in episode 3 because they say, have the protocol droid's hard drive swept and cleaned. So C-3PO does not have any recollection, but they don't do anything with R2. But, so even if he does remember anything, he doesn't say shit, so that's awkward. And then 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi spent a lot of time with R2. He was his droid for a good portion of time, for at least 9 years, 10 years, 11 years. And Obi-Wan seems to have no recollection of R2-D2 at all in episode 4. At all. Whatsoever. No one has any recollection of fucking anybody. Obi-Wan Kenobi fought in the Clone Wars. The Wookiees of Kashyyyk fought in the Clone Wars. Yoda knew Chewbacca. The Jedi Council then would have known Chewbacca and the Wookiees. So we can safely assume that Chewbacca would have been familiar with the Jedi Council and would have known Obi-Wan at the very least, but in a more broad spectrum, Obi-Wan would have known Chewbacca. Chewbacca would have, just out of courtesy, told Han Solo, like, dude, no, the guy's cool, we know what's going on, we gotta help him out. These conversations never happen. I don't understand what the fuck, why none of this ever gets addressed, you know? And the whole thing with, like what really happens with the Republic? Okay, I get it, we have this galactic empire, and then they become the rebels, but there's still like a really long stint between episode 3 and Rogue One that's not really specified. And then the big one that everyone talks about is like, we can assume that from when the twins were born, right? So Darth Vader gets created after his fight with Obi-Wan, and he gets put into his suit and stuff. The Death Star is under construction actively, and it's not completed, and it's barely completed until Luke comes around, and like he's 22 years old. So it took him 22 years to build the first one, but then they fucked that one up, and it gets blown up, and then the second one they build almost immediately. I don't see it. Don't get me wrong, it's a good series. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I guess whenever you start reading these things, seeing these things, and you're reading too much into it, you're just gonna beat a dead horse. And then if you talk about the acting too, and the actors' ages, I know Hollywood likes to do this, where they're like, oh, we make them a little bit older. If you watch American Pie, they're supposed to be in high school, you know. Those kids are like grown people. And I get that. But Padme in episode 1 is supposed to be 14. I did not read into that at all. In my head, she was probably like 20. And Anakin's 8. Because even if she's supposed to be 14, they picked fucking Jamie from Jingle All the Way. Jamie, I believe in you. And He's Anakin, no, would be his father at the time. And so really, it might be Schwarzenegger's fault for not going to Jamie's karate class in Jingle All the Way. We don't know. But at the very least, you got an 8-year-old boy to actually play an 8-year-old boy and like a 19-year-old to play a 14-year-old. Very strange. So then you never specify age. You just say that Padme is the youngest queen in the history of Naboo. And then all of a sudden, Anakin is older, and it's okay for them to be fucking. I don't know. That's weird. Really weird. Especially in today's society, we have issues with like teachers, even texting students, let alone growing up and then having babies with them. And I understand that was a big thing for them too, but not because of their age, but because Anakin was sworn to the Jedi Council and she was a senator. There's that, you know. What am I missing? Am I killing the series for myself? Is that the thing? Is that what's going to be inevitable? Because I'll be honest with you, I've watched a lot of Batman movies. I do find discrepancies, but I mean that's canon. But none of them as big as Episode One. I wouldn't even say this is a discrepancy, but it's a question that I have, and I pose it like this: Are we supposed to believe that it takes place in the same galaxy, which we can't because of the beginning of every Star Wars movie, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? We get, we understand it's a different galaxy, a very different galaxy. But here's the problem: it says that Anakin's a human. It says so in the pod race. That human being can run, or that human being can race. So that means he's a human being. And yeah, so Anakin being a human, they mention it in the pod race. In the pod race, they call him a human being. So then, with that being said, it doesn't take place in a different galaxy. It takes place in our galaxy. So why are there no other remnants of other animals similar to ours? Like there would be someone there's a sheep. There would have to be a sheep, right? Or like a goat. Something would happen. They would mention Earth. Either that or fine. Then humanoids would be from the Star Wars universe. That's the only other option. Those are the two options. But, I don't know. I'm nitpicking. And it's just something that I've been thinking about. It's been bothering me. But more so, we needed to have the conversation because it's been like a month since I threw out an episode. And I know it's not fun for you guys to have these little bits, but, content. It's important. Now, I will let you all in on a little secret, though. We got another interview coming. I'm recording it tomorrow. 2 p.m. tomorrow. I would love to tell you who it is, but I'm going to keep y'all waiting. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. And I think everyone's going to love it. I think we're all going to love it better than Star Wars because there's not going to be any discrepancies. And there's not going to be any lightsaber battles. Sword swallowing, whip cracking, maybe. But no lightsaber battles. That's that. I guess I'm going to end on that. It's short, sweet, and to the point, man. I have these issues with that. Please, if you can, text me, email me, eclecticidepod@gmail.com. Facebook me. I'm on there. Facebook.com/eclecticide/ Patreon. I'll have the notes. I'll have some of the stuff that I've typed up that I lost that I'll hopefully find again. Those will be on there. We're going to have shirts this year. Shirts, koozies, stickers. We have a lot of great things happening in 2020. I hope you guys had a fantastic time. Thank you for listening to this filler episode, but I really hope you stick around and subscribe and like and share all the old episodes, the old interviews, because we got a whole line of new ones coming in 2020 for you. Thank you guys, and always remember to party time.
This has been a Rhyme or Reason production.